Hello.
Well, holy moly, it's time to podcast. We are the Greater Mythos Podcast, a very unorganized podcast where we talk about video games, movies, and everything in between. I'm Josh, he's Josh, and I try to do it fast every time.
You're getting faster. You're getting better.
Was it better or was it just obnoxious?
It was fast.
You didn't answer my question.
I will. It was good. It was fine.
I don't believe you, but it's Thursday. I got to come home from work early. I had an internal crisis on whether or not I should try to mow my lawn before it was supposed to rain again, because it's supposed to rain for like the next 4 days, I think. And it was like a torrential downpour this morning. And so the ground was kind of damp. And I was like, man, it's Thursday. I usually mow my lawn on Thursdays and I don't want to do it because it's still kind of damp, but it's going to rain the next few days. And I don't want my lawn to be Jumanji. And welcome to the Lawn Mowing Therapy Podcast.
So you got it done, though.
Oh, yeah, I did. I bit the bullet. I got it done. Not that you want to know, but I just got out of the shower. I'm clean. I'm a clean boy. And as I'm looking at my weather app, it's not supposed to rain until midnight. So I got that going for me, I guess. But to be fair, it's supposed to thunderstorm tomorrow, rain on Saturday, thunderstorm on Sunday, Monday. But that could change at any given moment. So
It sure could. But hey,
I bet. Good.
I won't have to water the plants because it's raining.
How did you get stuck with the plant watering position?
Oh, I offered.
Oh, you did.
It's easy. It's just
Very good.
time consuming.
Very good. Well, and that way at least you won't get attacked by pollen as easily.
Yeah, it's like mowing the lawn is like breathing it in. You might as well just be snorting pollen at that point.
Do you think that that's something that someone would enjoy doing, snorting pollen, as more of a recreational pastime?
I guess. Well, if you're not allergic to pollen, it wouldn't do anything to you. And if you are allergic to pollen, it's just pain at that point.
It's just pain, he says. And
I guess some people are into pain, but not me. All right, I like to be not in pain.
I'm glad that you clarify that, because for a while I might have thought that you were into some extracurricular lawn endeavors. I don't know where I was going to go with that, but that's what happens when you try to make a joke.
Pain since I played Dark Souls. I don't know.
Well, I feel like that's more self-punishment.
Yeah.
Well, is pain and self-punishment the same thing?
Well, self-punishment can give you pain.
I feel like we're really hitting the hard topics today.
We are. But I have some real topics.
You do. And let's just dive right in. Why waste time about the lawn and pollen?
So I lent you my Skyrim the other day.
Yeah. I don't know why you want to rip open this scab.
And then it didn't work because apparently the Xbox 360 Skyrim isn't backwards compatible with the Xbox One.
Yeah.
But Oblivion is.
Well, let's back up. Let's back up a little bit here. Believe it or not, and you better believe it, there's some more story behind this. So as I told you off air a few days ago, I was at work doing my work thing, and when I'm doing my work things, I usually have Spotify in the background or just like a 3-hour loop of beats on YouTube going or something. And like I said, I can't remember how I got to this side of YouTube, but on my recommends, like the recommend side or whatever, there were a few different videos of like 3 to 10 hour loops of like, movie scores and, video game soundtracks and stuff like that. And so at first I found a 3-hour loop of the aesthetic and the wallpaper, the background of the video was a Hogwarts classroom. And the video was, Hogwarts classroom, like ambient music and vibe. And me just, hot off the presses of the Harry Potter movies, feeling very magical, if I may say. I was like, yeah, I'm going to throw that on. I'm going to concoct some potions here. But then as I clicked that one, to my dismay, I looked again at the recommend section, and there was a very similar 3-hour-ish loop of Skyrim ambient music and sound effects and stuff like that. And so the thumbnail for that video was like freaking High Hrothgar or whatever the mountain is, and it just looked very serene. And I was like, I need that. And so then that's when the fire awakened in me. I'm like, Skyrim. I need to play some Skyrim. And the running gag it's not really a running gag because I guess it's true, but the running gag of me not knowing how to approach my video game life. I was like, you know what? Why not just ruin everything else and just play Skyrim again? So yeah, so then that's when you gave that to me. When was that? What's today?
2 days ago, I think, something like that.
2 days ago. Yeah. So you gave me Skyrim and Oblivion, the Xbox 360 discs to feed into that lustful desire. so I came home. It was a later evening because we were just returning from your guys' house from watching New Dawn or whatever freaking Twilight movie it was. And I was like, Sarah, I'm gonna throw this in the Xbox so it can download and do the update or whatever, so that tomorrow's gonna be the day.
Tomorrow is Skyrim Day.
Tomorrow is Skyrim Day. It will forever and always be. But there goes my alarm. Sorry about that. When I plopped it in for it to do its thing, it gave me the dreaded, this game is not backwards compatible or something to that to that tune. I'm not sure if it exactly said that, but it wasn't going to work is the story. And so I can't remember so I messaged you. I sent you a picture of that screen. And I think I put like the skull and crossbones emoji to really convey my heartbrokenness. And I'm not sure if I'm dreaming this up or if you had said it earlier in the night, but maybe that it's not backwards compatible because they want you to keep buying the game.
Yeah.
Like Skyrim specifically.
Yeah, Bethesda is still trying to push it. So it might be something that they specifically asked for. Like, no, don't let it be backwards compatible so people have to rebuy it.
Right. Well, I remember, I can't remember where I heard this, but it was something like fans like got on like the Reddits or the Discords of Bethesda or whatever, and like, hey, how come it's taking forever to, new Elder Scrolls or whatever, and one of the developers more or less said, you guys keep buying Skyrim, so why would we rush this when we're still making cash money off of Skyrim? Something like that. But yeah, I thought that was funny.
Bethesda has become super money grubby lately. Maybe it finally bit them in the butt with the fall of Fallout 76, which is a great video on YouTube, by the way. Everyone should go watch that.
The fall of Fallout 76?
I think it's just called the Fall of 76.
I think you I think you might have told me about this recently.
Yes, it's a long video, but it's like a big, like just a journal of what happened, like a list of events and how, and it's actually pretty entertaining and humorous. Some of Bethesda's responses to things that just clueless about what they should have done, like PR nightmare kind of stuff.
I'm sure I've already asked you this, but did you play 76? I forget.
Oh, I did not. I mean, going into it, everyone who had played, I think there was a beta or people getting early access, or the fact that they weren't allowing people to stream the game or not giving early titles, something like that. There was something going on that was like a warning sign. I'll have to go back and see what it was. The video describes all that, but and plus I'm not going to buy a AAA game on release unless it's something that unless it's a mistake. I'll put it out there.
Unless if it's a mistake.
I can't restrain myself.
You accidentally pre-ordered it.
My willpower failed and I bought the game anyway.
Wow. What a day. It's going to be the new Dragon Age probably if I were a betting man.
Oh, I'll buy, any BioWare game, even though I've lost faith, I'll still buy them all because
you have a sick habit.
Hey, okay, they have some of the best games I've ever played on the market and also some of the worst. That is BioWare.
So what you're saying is it could go either way very quickly.
Well, you see, their best games were in the past, so I don't know. Unless they really knock it out of the park with this next one, I mean, they've got like one chance left, in my eyes.
One chance?
And a lot of people have already given up on them, so I'm being pretty generous with this fourth chance, but...
Well, they say that a dog returns to his vomit or something like that. Anyway, so with Skyrim, so yeah, that really kicked me in the nards. But then I put in Oblivion and boom, booted up right away. I left it overnight to install, and this will not shock you, but the extent that I've had with Oblivion thus far in the 2 days that I've had it in my possession is I installed it. I got home at about 8:45-ish last night from work. Wednesdays are long days. Got on my couch, sat down with my lovely wife. I got a drink and I booted it up and I started making my character and I finished making my character and I was in the prison and then I went to bed.
How long did you spend making your character?
Too long, mainly because I felt like I couldn't make it look good.
Yeah, that's not possible with Oblivion.
Now, I mean, I know that's a relative or whatever kind of term, but I was like, man, I feel like no matter what race I am, or, you know, it doesn't matter if I'm human or freaking Khajiit or whatever, it all looks like a smashed potato.
Yeah, the characters aren't the best looking in that game. That's why you play in first person.
Right. What you don't know can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Or what you can't see, I should say.
Cover it with a helmet anyway.
Yeah, I guess. You can find one. Sucker.
Hey, they're pretty easy to find. You just go to the main city and buy like an iron one or whatever.
Well, that's assuming that you have money. Did you, hearkening back to, I can't remember if it was last episode or 2 episodes ago when we were talking about the Xbox game showcase and all that was going on. Did you see, I can't remember what it was called, but it's a new game that's coming out and I can't remember if it was for Xbox, but it has like a Skyrim vibe to it. Did you ever see that? We didn't talk about it. So we didn't talk about it. So I was assuming you didn't, but man, I'll have to look that up. I can't remember what it was called, and man, I still want to play Skyrim. It's $40 on the store. That's the Game of the Year edition. It comes with like all the crap, and that's not like a bad price or anything. But like, nope. Man, I just, man.
No, I mean, if you want to play it, do it.
Well, and then I spent how long? Roughly 20 to 25 minutes on my lunch break watching. It was called like it's from the new Avengers game coming out. You know, my highly anticipated game of the year. Mm-hmm. Like the war table thing. It's just like a big like announcement video of updates and like what's it's gonna have and all that. And boy, am I still stoked for that. So I'm hanging on to hope.
So what do you think about the fact that they've already announced a DLC character before the game's even come out?
What do I think about it just in concept or the fact that it's Hawkeye and he doesn't have any hair?
Well, yeah, that was strange. But I think the biggest thing people are already talking about is why not just have him in the base game? Why does he have to be DLC?
Well, you know, I totally get that. But also if you think about like the Mortal Kombat games and the Capcom games or whatever, to my knowledge, they've done stuff like that too, haven't they? Or like hinted at, you know, the first character DLC packs and stuff like that before things have come out. Maybe not in the same exact way, but in concept.
Yeah, but he's not like a DLC. Like he's a main.
He's an Avenger. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, he's not like one of the side Avengers that joins in later. You know, like I can see them being DLC, but like the main like 5 or 6 of them should just be in the base game. That'd be like making Captain America a DLC character.
Well, I'm pretty sure he dies like in the first 30 minutes of the game.
Spoilers.
That's not a spoiler. That's in the trailer. Or it's alluded to in the trailer, but maybe it's wrong. I don't know.
I don't get why all these Marvel people don't like Captain America and they like kill him off and everything. I don't get it.
I think it's too, you know, the symbol of hope perishes. What are we going to do? You know, to rally, you got to rally the troops to gather together for the cause of America now that, you know.
Yeah, but none of the other heroes are like morally good enough.
How dare you? Okay. Hawkeye is plenty morally good enough.
What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure there's a whole thing about him like killing people all over the place.
You shut your mouth.
The only one who is morally good is Captain America. I'm sure there's a couple others who are like in a gray area, but he's the only real hero.
Oh, you've opened up a can of worms. Now you something. Let's think about this. Hang on. Let me think.
Like I mentioned this when we were watching the last Twilight movie, but when I looked over at you and I said something about Stark, about how he's not a hero.
What did you say? I don't remember.
I just said Stark's not a hero.
Is that all you? That's all you said? Yeah. What was the context?
I remember. I don't remember why we were.
Oh no! It was because I had made the hilariously wisecracking joke about how Twilight was like the original Civil War because Team Edward and Team Jacob or whatever. And then amongst other comments, you just looked me dead in the eyes and you said Stark sucks or something, and then I left.
He doesn't suck.
I think that's what you said, word for word.
He's just not a good hero because he's so selfish. And I understand that's his personality, but if the Civil War, my thinking was, you're looking at the Civil War and you're picking a side, right? You're picking Team Jacob or Edward, or in this case, you're picking Rogers or Stark. You're gonna pick the bona fide best moral human being, like might as well like be Jesus's son on Earth,
How
or
dare you?
or Stark, who he sold weapons to terrorists. I don't know how you can
Dude, everyone needs to make a living. I don't know why you're so caught up in this.
make a living. He could have sold like one and been set. This man is a billionaire. Doesn't need any more money.
We're rambling. What were we talking about before? now I'm still thinking about Twilight for some reason.
I don't know, but if they're killing Rogers off, I'm gonna be upset.
Oh, right. Yeah. The Marvel game, and yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he won't be dead. I don't know. But anyway, just to cap off that, the more that I saw of the game, the more I'm really excited about it because, and I've said this before, so apologies for the broken record. It looks like the perfect balance. The game. It looks like the perfect balance of there's a story, there's stuff to accomplish, there's stuff to unlock, but also you can hop on and off at your own will. They have the main campaign and all that, and then they have, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but there was something called, pun not intended, war zones, where it's like, I think it's like a wave thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched a video about it. I can't remember exactly what it is. And then there's a few different modes where it's, I'm sure it's going to be repetitive in certain ways, but every video game is when you really gnaw it down. So all in, that's September something. That's probably the next game I'm going to pay full price for. What was the last one? I think I already talked about it. I don't remember what it is.
But in the grand scheme of things, every game is a game you can put down, unless it's multiplayer. You can still do it.
Yeah. I guess what I mean by that is, let me think. Because you're correct, obviously, and in theory. I guess what I mean for me is when I play a Red Dead or I play a Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, those games, I feel, for me personally, that they beg me to keep going up until a certain point. You need to finish this. You need to get to this certain milestone or part in the story.
Yeah.
To where, for example, I know a Call of Duty or a Battlefield or, in my opinion, this Marvel game, there's stuff, like I said, there's stuff to accomplish, stuff to do, but also, I don't know. Maybe I won't be able to fully put it into words, but I still haven't beaten Red Dead, so who am I to talk?
Well, yeah, some of those games take a lot of investment to play and beat. And that emotional and, I guess, physical, like your energy level investment to play the game, right, can be a bit much sometimes, especially if you had a long day of work or whatever.
Or if you just mowed the lawn.
Yeah, well, if I just mowed the lawn, I'm might as well just go take a nap because I think I have a fever.
I was gonna say, I think you'd be passed out somewhere.
Yeah,
you'd still be out on the lawn.
Yeah, I'd be dead. It's over.
Yikes!
Depends on how big the lawn is. No, so yeah, I can understand that. Games like Rocket League or Call of Duty, games where you can just like play around and then stop, but. I mean, you can try to frame other games that way too.
Right. And I don't mean to make it if it's strictly a multiplayer game, then that's what I need to top on and off. That's not necessarily what I'm saying either, but I don't know. I feel like, again, this is all me and my perspective. There is a balance with the story and the game loop and I don't know, just the vibe, but I'll stop talking about it because I feel like I'm rambling and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to you.
Well, that's kind of what rambling podcasts are. You just ramble. You do it.
God knows that's what we are.
Exactly. But speaking of games you can just hop on and off, but you don't really want to, is Stardew Valley, which I bring up a lot.
Right,
but there is a reason for it.
I'm ready. They announced a new DLC character. Sorry.
That would be interesting. I don't know how they do that. But anyway, they announced a collector's edition.
Oh.
And this is kind of my way of segueing into the topic of collector's editions in general. Have you ever purchased one?
Okay, let me think. So by definition, a collector's edition of a game is like correct me if I'm wrong, like the $130 version where you get a Master Chief helmet and an actual warthog from Halo, right? Is that what you're referencing?
They don't always have to be that expensive. Just like any edition of a game that comes with physical merchandise, and I assume costs more.
Yeah, let me think. I know that I've boughted like deluxe versions of games. Like they're the instead of the $59.99 edition, they're the $70 edition. That usually just comes with, exclusive cosmetics and if it's a Ghost Recon game, an exclusive mission that takes 10 minutes to beat and isn't worth your time. Anyway, I don't think I have.
I think I did with the last Mass Effect game. Which I mean,
here we go again.
Laugh at me now because I spent.
Oh, with Andromeda?
Yeah.
Oh, God bless you.
Yeah. So everyone's making
get?
fun of me now.
You didn't get a perfectly functioning game, that's for sure.
No, but I got a jacket. The jacket's nice. I got a hat. I got
nice.
Like a little toy car that's modeled after the vehicle used in the game.
Love it.
And some like stickers and stuff. Which
good.
The jacket and the hat were the best part. Which
I've seen you wear the jacket, haven't you? Or haven't I? Surely.
So the jacket I use more than that is the one from the first trilogy.
With the N7 on it.
Yes. I have the other one which has the Andromeda logo on it. It's just in my closet. I don't know. Don't really want to rep and have everyone look at me and judge me while I'm walking down the street.
These are strange times. I'm still trying to think. I don't think I have, but it's not for lack of trying or lack of wanting to.
What?
Well, I'm thinking so hard I might pass out. You might just hear my head hit my desk.
We're talking about Mass Effect or collector's editions?
Collector's editions. I'm sorry. Collector's editions. I'll stop thinking so hard. I think my final answer is no, I have not.
Like, I understand for the people who have the excess funds and they want to support a studio, and that's all cool. And it's always physical merchandise that doesn't affect the game. I have no problems with it. I don't think I would do it for, like, if I'm really excited and it's for a company like BioWare, which is one of my favorites, or a game that I'm really excited for. I can see myself in the future, maybe. But no, other than that, Andromeda, I haven't. And I really wish
that was your only one.
Well, the only one I can remember.
Well, so let's take it. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to anyway. So let's flip this. Let's flip this on its head. So what are some off the top of your head, some upcoming ones that in a perfect world and you would just want to drop hundreds of dollars, would you want the collector's editions for? Because I would totally do the Avengers one.
I don't know what comes in that, but that seems interesting.
I don't know if there even is one, but just in theory, I would.
There will be one.
Maybe you'll get Captain America as a playable character.
Well, then, yes. Can I just buy the collector's edition extras?
I'll pay any price, he says.
Man. No, so I want to get the Stardew Valley collector's edition.
What comes with that then? I don't think you ever said.
I don't know exactly.
Wonderful.
But it's more of just... So I would get it on the Switch because I have it on the computer and I want it on my Switch too. But instead of just buying it on the Switch, might as well support the developer. Because the game was only $15, the base game.
Huh.
And I think the collector's edition is like $60. It's like a real priced game. A
real big boy game.
But I've sunk 100 hours into that game over its lifespan. So, I don't know. I don't mind giving the developer... I mean, the developer is literally like one guy. And... I'd support him. It's not like a huge AAA company that doesn't need the extra money or anything.
So is my memory failing me, or was one of the versions of the collector's editions for Fallout 76 the one where they were going to do that like duffel bag or whatever, and that whole like duffel bag gate? Is that, am I correct?
Yes, and that video I mentioned describes all that. I highly recommend. You don't have to watch it. You can listen to it. Right. If you want, like while you're at work or something. I highly recommend you watch it because there's so much that went on, not just with that game, but with Bethesda in general. And I don't know how, if you're in charge of their PR, how you can oversee that many failures in a row and still have your job. It's unreal. And it's
Well,
not like, and it doesn't affect me or you because we didn't play the game, right?
no, of course not.
But yeah, like how do you just communicate with your players and like 90% of those problems go away?
Well, oh my gosh, I'll bring this up too. Well, and what's the word?
I don't know what the word
Precur.
is.
Thank you. Precursor. That's not what it is. Well, cards on the table. I'll say I'll take a leap. We have no idea what goes on behind the scenes of that stuff. I mean, obviously, it's like, yeah, only an idiot would do those things. But also, God only knows the corporate world of disgust and grime and suits and what that really looks like. But in regards to terrible PR and fan backlash, Star Citizen. Have you heard about that stuff recently?
Well, I've heard about all the jokes. I don't know. Is there any drama about recently what's going on?
Well, so did we talk about this already at some point, Star
We might
Citizen, or am
have.
I?
I mean, the fact that the game will never come out ever. Yeah.
Okay, well let's do this for those several few out there, cousin Jonah specifically, because I know he listens. For cousin Jonah who doesn't know what Star Citizen is, why don't you give us a brief rundown of the concept, the idea, when it was conceived, and where we are at this point in its lifespan?
Okay, so
Here we
Star
go.
Citizen, and to give you some background onto why so many people bought into it. Star Citizen was a game where they promised you were going to be able to do space travel in first person, to fly your ship manually in a massive universe. So kind of like how No Man's Sky promised.
Yes, 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 yes,
You were
and
gonna,
delivered to some extent.
yeah, eventually, and you were gonna, and you're gonna be able to get out of your ship on the planets, do missions, first person shooting. It was gonna be super immersive. Have design your ships, have other people in the ships with you to like do other parts of the ship, like fire the weapons or co-pilot or whatever. And it just seemed like this is going to be a science fiction movie adventure game. Like it was just going to be amazing. It was going to look amazing. They
Mark
promised
Hamill
so
was in
much. Oh, there's so much promised, right?
it.
Then, but it wasn't a huge studio. And so they put it up on Kickstarter and Patreon, I think, one of the two. And they said, okay, you can pledge money and you will get these rewards once the game is released.
When
And it
was
was
this,
like
by the way? When did this big kickoff on the Patreon and Kickstarter happen?
2014.
Right, 2014.
6 years ago. It was
What, are
actually
you
a little
sure?
more. Yeah, because
I
I
thought it was
remember
earlier than that.
I was a senior in high school.
You backed it, didn't you? We did talk about this.
Yes, I pledged it. I still have.
Yes,
I have
right.
the ship in the unplayable game.
Love it.
Now, it's not a big deal. It was $40. I mean, $40 would have been spent on something else pointless at the time. I was
You're
in
not
high
bitter.
school, whatever. It was just it was money from my part-time job at the time, but it was promised, and a bunch of people pledged. They made like over $3 million within like that first year pledging, and they started development. And they had a bunch of sponsors. They had their own money coming into it, and these people had made, well, some of the developers had made good games in the past, and the guy in charge, which should have done more research on at the time, has had projects like this in the past where they just kind of fell apart. But lo and behold, the game is still not out yet 6 years later. And instead of making a playable version of the game, they just keep adding on new promises and features and they never polish anything.
So to be fair, there is currently some sort of playable version of the game, isn't there? Or some sort of like, am I dreaming that up? Or isn't there like a not necessarily a beta, but like, am I dreaming that up?
No, I mean it's just like any other early access game. I mean you can log in or get in your ship flying around. The problem
So
is
what do you do? What's because yeah, what's the point right now then?
so the core gameplay loop is you make money by doing missions, by getting in your ship, flying to planets, mining stuff, getting out, whatever. It's like kind of like a bounty hunter. You do missions, and then you complete them. You get money. You buy upgrades to your ship. You buy more bigger ships, or whatever. That's like the core gameplay loop. It's gonna be like this big sandbox science fiction game. That was the plan anyway. But you can't really do any of that without horrible lag, crashes, disconnects, and 90% of the promised features are not even in the game. So
So do me, if you're able, do me a favor as I rant, not even rant, just talk. Google how much money it has currently raised, because I heard that number yesterday or 2 days ago on a different podcast, and I would love to share that with cousin Jonah specifically. But if are you able to do that without being distracted?
I'm trying not to make too much noise.
No, that's fine. So yeah, I mean, so Mark Hamill was supposed to be like an actor in it or a character. Who else? There were several like big name people, and like there are character models of them in the trailers, or like a few different trailers. Mark Hamill for sure, and I can't remember who else. Who else was involved?
I mean, it's crazy how much they keep promising and adding, and it's almost disingenuous to do that when you don't have a playable game behind it. And it's not like we haven't seen the gameplay and it's just on the back end and they've been making promises.
Right. There's nothing there.
We've seen the product and it's not finished. Well, anyway, as to your earlier question, they have raised over $300 million as of last month.
How insane is that?
How insane can you raise $300 million and not have a game done already? I mean, the money's obviously not an issue.
I don't know, but also, and I could be wrong in saying this, so hold your fire. That like, I think I heard these people say that like it is in theory, it is the most expensive game ever made currently.
Yes, and it's also in like the top 5 or 10 like highest crowdfunded projects, period.
Dude, it's insane. It's insane.
But the thing is, why would they ever finish the game? It's still profitable. People are still making pledges and still supporting. Why would they ever release it officially? And the funding would just stop. You know, there's no point. Who else are you going to sell the game to? Everyone who was ever going to be interested is already giving you the money. So, like, that's kind of the point that I've seen people make, is that it's just a scam. It's just a way to keep sucking up money from the community. Keep releasing new features and say, okay, pledge more money now. And I don't know. It just leaves a bad taste in your mouth after you do too much research into it. As we
close the Star Citizen train, in your humble opinion and from the knowledge you have of the game and its story, how is this going to end? Because dare I say that it's not going to end well. I mean, like, is there going to be a game? Is there going to be a game at some point in our lifetime? Are they just going to say, you know what? No, here's your money back? They're not going to give money back, right? Probably not.
The money's already gone. It's already spent. At least the money I pledged. I mean, maybe
right. Your $40 is gone.
They spent that on pizza night. No, I think it ends in two ways. I think they cancel development. I think lawsuits happen. They lose a lot of money. I think the other end is that they do release the game. It's terrible and lawsuits happen. I think either way they're getting sued, because the same thing happened with Fallout 76. It seems like every game that has flopped recently, there's been lawsuits. So that's the way I see it ending.
Huh.
So they're going to delay it as long as possible because they know that's going to happen.
There's your monthly update for Star Citizen from 2014.
Yeah, I try not to think about that game too much, but
I'm sorry.
If now, maybe I'm wrong, maybe a miracle happens, the game comes out and it's amazing and it's everything they promised, and my $40, I look back on that 2014 self and I thank myself for doing it. I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see.
I mean, if that day happens and that comes to fruition, I'll come over. We'll bust out some drinks. We'll celebrate together. We'll play the game that will probably crash 45 seconds after booting it up, and then we'll just go from there.
Now, in other news, there's a game like it called Elite Dangerous. I think it's PC only. I'm not sure. It might be on consoles.
Okay.
But it was just space. Like, you weren't getting out of your ship or anything, but you were like flying around, docking at space stations, picking up bounties and contracts and doing missions. Very similar. And they have announced that they're going to be adding planet walking, first person stuff, like everything that Star Citizen promised. And they already have a working spacefaring game. And it looks incredible. It does. It's I mean, there's not a lot of content, but
sure,
in terms of gameplay loop, but in terms of like the look and the feel, it feels awesome. It's a cool game. And if they do add that content, what's the point of ever waiting for Star Citizen? You're going to have the game you wanted already. So
yeah. Well, so side note, I just brought up that trailer right now for Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous Odyssey, it would appear. Take your first steps. It's playing. Yeah, and I think I can't remember. Well, maybe it was 2016 or 17ish for when No Man's Sky was, uh, I guess, released. I don't remember when No Man's Sky like made its first. Holy crap, that looks interesting. Sorry, I'm still watching the trailer. That's a big empty planet though. I was gonna say I don't remember when No Man's Sky was announced and the concept was pitched or whatever, but I wonder when slash if the open world slash open universe game type model will be snuffed out. Whether it's because people just can't do it right, or another trend or fad happens with game concepts. Does that make sense?
I think that it won't go away. In fact, I think it's going to continually get more popular. I think as gaming technology and computing technology gets better, we'll eventually get a game. Because, I mean, No Man's Sky is better now. In fact, I haven't played it, so I can't make a final judgment. But based on what I've seen, people say that. They like the game. They say it's good.
Yep.
It wasn't on release, but they improved it. They worked on it.
Well, dare I say, and this is another can of worms. It's not that it's it's hot take. Look out! It's not that No Man's Sky was bad on release. It's just that it was empty, and obviously that can mean it was bad. So I get that too. I guess I don't know. I guess I'm turning into a No Man's Sky apologist.
My whether a game is good or bad is mostly about. The reason why I would call it bad is not the emptiness or any of that. The reason why I would call it bad is because developers that make promises that they can't keep, that just bugs me. Or they make a promise and then they just lie to people. And the developers apologize for all of that. And they worked really hard to meet the request finally. But I mean, they were promising all kinds of stuff. And then the video of the people who were on the same planet at the same spot in space and couldn't see each other.
Yep.
When they said you could originally.
Yep. So good. It's so crazy.
And it's I don't know why this is permeating throughout the gaming community, where all these developers are just not meeting expectations, or
right.
They're focusing more. And I think the underlying problem with all of it is developers focusing more on the money and less on just making a game that they would think is fun,
Well, and I think it can be traced back to the classic, what is it? The classic fable of overpromise, underdeliver. I mean, to where, in a perfect world, and I've been told this at work a lot, we what is it? Man. Underpromise and overdeliver is a better approach, because it's always, you're always happier to get more than what you bargained for, as opposed to, vice versa.
Yeah,
no.
and that's okay, if something happens in the development and something you promised just can't happen, that's okay, as long as you are clear and communicate to the people about that. And some developers do, like Stardew Valley. I know we've already talked about it, but the developer had promised multiplayer, and it came out later than he promised it would, and it wasn't happening right away. And he just came out and was honest. He said, "Look, I don't know how to do this.
I messed up.
I'm not an expert." And I mean, he developed this whole game from scratch for 4 years by himself. He taught himself everything. He said, "So, I'm sorry it's taking so long. If anyone wants refunds, I will accept them all." Of course, no one did, because what he said later is he was partnering with a company that can do it for him. And they did. And it came out and it's great. And that's what you got to do. Just have some kind of honesty. And some developers do.
Yeah, for sure. So really quick, I'm still looking at some Elite Dangerous footage on YouTube. Number 1, 2014 is when it came out.
Elite Dangerous has been out and playable since then, yes.
Number 2, it's kind of a bad name, right? Is it just me?
Well, Elite Dangerous, yeah.
Elite Dangerous, that's kind of bad, right? I mean, not bad, just you just feels like you could just kind of slap that on there, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's the game, that's another detractor for Star Citizen, is that Elite Dangerous came out when Star Citizen was being first announced, and it was already playable.
Last thing here, sorry, just so I don't forget. One of the top comments on this video is, and I quote, Yeah. And I quote, I've never seen or heard of this game, period, period, period. But when they all jumped, hyperspace jumped, period, 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 I experienced a raging sci-fi arousal. I must find this game.
Yeah, it does. It feels amazing to play. If there's more content to keep you invested, like that's the draw. That gets you gets the controller in hand, that gets you playing.
Well, so yeah. So what? You haven't played No Man's Sky, correct?
No, but
Or
I've
have
seen
you?
a lot of stuff
Right.
about it.
So what in a perfect world, man, this whole episode just should have been about open world space games. What would, when we're talking Star Citizen, talking Elite Dangerous, Elite : Dangerous, apologies. No Man's Sky and all these, I guess I'll just talk for No Man's Sky specifically because I haven't played the other two and one of them technically doesn't exist. No Man's Sky has a story. It has a campaign or whatever, but in its design, it is a vast open world procedurally generated space adventure game.
Sandbox game, yeah.
I'm so sorry. Sandbox game. And so, you can land on any planet. You mine the heck out of everything. You can build bases, blah, 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 crazy stuff. So at what point for you does all of that just become tedious and the story doesn't matter? And then it's just classic kind of Ubisoft approach where everything's big just for the sake of being big,
The way it was on release, I think they've added a lot to it. If it's big, it's expansive, if it feels incredible, but it's empty, then you're going to walk away with it feeling empty after playing it, There needs to be stuff in the world that you populate it with or whatever that is interesting and feeds into the gameplay. And I think that's the biggest disconnect some developers have, some players have with open world games, is it an open world game or is it just an open world experience? Because where's the game, right?
Right.
And games don't need to be just about the gameplay. Those are just action games. But have the world facilitate the game, not take away from it. I guess that would be my point.
So we've probably, maybe we haven't, maybe we've made reference to these games in recent or past episodes. What is your current pinnacle of the open world experience and how that all stacks up?
So I haven't played every open world game. And
correct.
We've already talked about it, and this isn't what I'd say is like the best
Stardew
example.
Valley.
No. Skyrim, actually.
Oh,
because
golly.
they filled that map to the brim.
Gosh dang it.
Like
Is it on Game Pass? Because I might just freaking get Game Pass.
I don't know, but you play... Okay, so Skyrim, you can't walk 4 steps without something popping up on your compass that you haven't seen. Like, it's just filled to the brim. Like, I understand why they're milking the crap out of it. They worked hard on that. Now,
right.
Yes, the game's engine has problems, and they wasn't the best in that regard. But in terms
hate to break it to you, every game's friggin' engine has had problems since the dawn of time.
Not as much as Bethesda's creation engine.
Well, you know.
You get hit by a giant, you fly up in the air. Anyway.
Love it.
Anyway, with Skyrim, they actually utilized every inch of that map. And it is big. It's a big game. It's not the biggest, but it doesn't need to be. Now, take into account Fallout 4, their next big title, and the map was actually a little smaller than Skyrim's. And was
that their next game?
I think so.
Really? Sorry, continue. Interesting.
But it was 3 times or a third as dense as Skyrim, but it was smaller,
Right.
The game doesn't need to be massive in scope. Like, Grand Theft Auto games are huge. Red Dead Redemption games are huge, but there's nothing to do. But like
good.
But I mean, you can like do the side missions, but I don't know.
Sorry, I just got a very happy text from some friends about concerning cookies. I was gonna say blah 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 blah.
Open world games.
Open world Skyrim. The interesting thing, and it's been a little bit. The last time I played Skyrim, it was on my Switch before I parted with it. RIP.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing, and again, this might be ignorance speaking, so just let me do it. Skyrim's map is big. It's a good size.
Mhm.
Have bigger maps and games come out since then, of course, as time goes on. But the interesting thing about Skyrim's world, I feel, is that, and get ready, I'm about to just trying to sound intelligent, but it's not going to work. It's big, but also it doesn't feel too big. I don't know, because like it's big and there are different biomes, if
Mhm.
that's the correct word. Your mountains and snow and swamps and whatever.
Mhm.
But it all feels intentional. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if that's,
Well,
but
I agree
also
with you.
good.
I agree with you.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good.
And to my earlier point, I think that we're basically saying the same thing. I think that because they filled it with stuff, that there's caves, dungeons, buildings, this stuff all over the map. It
Right.
makes everything feel intentional.
Right.
It does. And there's nowhere that's considered wasted space.
I would beg to. I wouldn't beg. I'm not a beggar. I would also add another game, and we have talked about this too, but whatever. Witcher 3. Not that that's a hot take either, but that's another open world where it all feels intentional,
Mm-hmm.
and there's spaces to discover and to explore, and it's not. I would say a game in the middle of being intentional, but also just big for the sake of being big, is Ghost Recon Wildlands that came out in 2017. But I love that game.
Well,
That
they've done
I'm
stuff
not
like
good.
that. They've come out with open world games all the time, and a lot of them just they work. But like Metal Gear Solid 5, did you play that?
Is that Phantom Pain?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
So I mean, a lot of people loved that game. There's just it's so freeform and you can do whatever you want, and
Right.
and tackle missions the way you want. But the
You can
world,
ride a horse.
and when the gameplay and the map work together, it feels awesome. But when you just slap an open world on a game that doesn't need it, that's
Slap it.
when. And there's been titles like that too, like Mass Effect Andromeda. Curse the name, I keep
Sure.
bringing it up.
Sure.
When you
Yes.
just slap open world on a game that doesn't need it, that's when you start to have issues.
So as so what do you think? And I don't mean for this to be a long, philosophical question. What what do you think dictates whether a game should have a big open world or not? Because if you look at a game like Skyrim, or you look at the Ghost Recon Wildlands or whatever, they could easily be linear story experiences. If for like Ghost Recon, for example, several of the games prior to that in Ghost Recon's history, I think they were pretty open for the most part, but they were still more straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I think for Skyrim, I think if you make that game linear, it's completely unrecognizable because
Sure.
the game, the gameplay loop is do whatever you want and get rewarded for it. It's go in this cave, find cool stuff, level up a skill. There's a bunch of skills, and each part of the world and areas will require you to have different parts or be good at certain things, and
Sure.
it all works together. If you make it a linear story experience, if you just played Skyrim for the main campaign and nothing else, you didn't go anywhere else, you just went from mission to mission, you walked straight there, you didn't stop anywhere, you didn't do anything else,
That'd be a blast.
it's not that fun. It really, like when I first played Skyrim, that's what I did. I just, that's what you do in video games. You beat the main campaign. At least that's what I would always do. I
Hmm.
never really, Skyrim was my first really big open world game besides Oblivion. And I just went straight for the main story and I completed it. And I was like, this isn't that fun of a game. And then
Blasphemy.
I didn't have anything else to tell me what to do. I mean, I had a bunch of other quests I had picked up along the way, and I just started doing them at my own pace. And that's when I fell in love with the game. And I think that's the difference is that those games are not built for you to just focus down one thing. It's go where you want and there's always something to do no matter which direction you pick. It makes the player feel like they have agency. Whereas your original question was what do I think about what makes a game dictate needing an open world? And I don't necessarily think that's um, the way I would frame it. I think the way I would put it is if you're going to make a game open world and you make that decision, okay, cool. How are you going to make that and the gameplay work together. I think
Sure.
if you have an answer to that question, like, okay, this is what we're going to do to make the open world feel immersive and feel full, right? Because that's the difference between Fallout 4 and Skyrim. Fallout 4 felt empty. Every building you saw was boarded up. You couldn't go into anything. There was nothing. It was,
Right.
like you're just walking around aimlessly. Fallout 4 could have been a linear game, and I wouldn't have noticed the difference.
I think I paid full price for Fallout 4.
I will say,
I think I did.
if you have I think it's Nuka World, if you have that DLC, it's actually really fun. That DLC. I don't know if it's worth buying everything, but anyway. So yes, I guess my final answer for that would be, if you're going to do an open world game, just find out a way to make it immersive and fun. Make the world fun. Because if it's just there to pad time out, that you have to travel between missions to make the game 100 hours when it normally would have just been 15, then no, then I don't think that's the right way to go about it.
Did you get Ghost of Tsushima?
I did not, but everyone's lauding the game as like amazing, so I don't know.
Did we talk about that too? Did we talk about that at your house? I apologize because for some reason I can't remember any conversation that we've had in the past like 3 days, and we've had a few.
Pull your phone out and start recording conversations.
Well, I think that's illegal depending on who you ask. Well, just on the the open world and all that stuff. I've heard mixed things about Ghost of Tsushima, just in the sense of, well, I won't even go down that road. I've heard that the world is beautiful. It looks good to me. Apparently my brother has it and has played it, which has blown my mind. I guess we just don't talk about video games as much as we used to. Maybe not. Maybe we should. Does he listen to this? I don't think so. Who knows?
You're not showing him the podcast?
You got to know your audience,
Know your audience. I'll show it to Ray. I'll do
it. Yeah. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of us, Josh.
Why are you hiding it?
Nothing. I have nothing to hide. You have Stardew Valley. Star Citizen is what I should have said.
That's probably that or the collector's edition of Andromeda. My two
that too. I got some dirt on you, sucker.
When I pass and I'm sitting in front of the pearly gates, that's what they're going to bring up.
Wow. St. John's going to say, man, we'd really let you in, but that Andromeda collector's edition.
I can't believe it. How did you do that?
Oh my gosh.
No, so I think he'd like some of we could even bring him on, especially,
Oh my gosh, you're getting way too ahead of yourself, my friend.
Well, maybe we'll have a Call of Duty episode and
get okay. All right, I'm gonna stop you right now. What? All right. In closing, we're landing this plane. Do you have anything else? Any other thoughts? Any other things besides talking about my brother with Call of Duty?
I was mostly making fun of you with that comment.
Hey, oh my gosh, I can take it. I can take it. I'm thick. I have thick skin.
But he plays it with you.
We haven't in a while.
Well, he would be able to have more conversations about the game with you than I would, for sure.
I mean, you could probably fart your way through the conversation and pretend like you knew what you were talking about. It's pretty simple.
So, there's been criticism of the new Halo Infinite graphics.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What a better way to end the episode, but to talk about Halo Infinite's graphics.
So, and I'm not like a graphics first kind of player.
Sure.
But it is supposed to be on the next gen, and it seems like a 360 game. Do you
think that though? You think that it looks like a 360 game?
It certainly
genuinely
doesn't look next gen.
I don't know, man.
You saw the picture of that brute, right? It looks like.
I mean, I'd have to bring it back up, and I watched a little bit more of that gameplay that they released, the 20 or so minutes or whatever mission they did. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like you. I'm not a graphics snob, but I'm not a ding dong. I can tell when something looks good or not, or looks current or not. I mean, I thought it looked fine. I feel like it's keeping in vein of what the previous Halos have looked like, but also still keeping its shine, if that makes sense.
But because is fine going to be enough?
I mean, I'll buy it. It's coming out for the Xbox One as well.
That's, I think, why it doesn't look as good, is because what we might have seen was the Xbox One version.
Yeah, and this could be a bigger conversation, and it should be because I'd love to discuss it more. But I totally forgot about that. It is coming out for the current Xbox as well, so that's probably another game that I will get because that falls in line with my ridiculous, expectation of linear, but also I can put time and then hop off kind of a thing. Mainly because of the multiplayer. That's good stuff. That's good stuff right there.
So will it be cross compatible with Xbox One and Xbox Series X players?
Are you referencing? Oh, I thought you were making fun of me. Are you? Was that making fun of me in the Skyrim
No.
thing? Because I'll fight you.
No, but now I want to.
Gosh dang it.
You're asking for it.
That's a great question. I would assume, why wouldn't it be? Because they're doing cross-platform between PlayStations and Xboxes now. With like Fortnite and Warzone. Yeah, and computers too. Elite Race me.
Well, down that vein, it's really funny when I play with some of my friends who are that way. And we'll play PC games and like if we're playing a game that's cross-platform with console, and we get like a console player, they always have some kind of backhanded comment like, "Oh no, it's a console player."
I don't get it. We need to talk about that too.
I find that so funny.
Gosh,
I play all of them. I'm in the middle, man.
Right. You have a Nintendo 64.
Speaking of which, we need to play some Mario Party on there. The best one.
That doesn't sound fun to me, if I'm being honest. I'll do it, but
it's about the competitiveness. And
I know how you are being competitiveness. I see you. I know who you are.
How I know who I am. Yeah. You're married to someone who's worse, and she doesn't believe it.
My wife is a saint. All right. We gotta shut this down before we have more family debacles. Hey, that was episode 5. I think it was episode 5. Hey, wherever you're listening, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes. I guess that's Apple Podcasts. I apologize. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I guess that's Google Play too. And we're also on YouTube. I'm slaughtering this. Give us a rate, 1 star if you think it's worth 1 star, 6 stars if there's an option for 6 stars. We have new episodes every Friday. That's our goal. I've been debating on whether I should say all this at the beginning or at the end. Because what if people only listen to like the first 10 minutes and then they're like, oh, I got to go mow my lawn and I can't listen to it.
I think it's fine to put it at the end. It fits.
Is this the end?
Hello.